Hey guys, my name's Cody and welcome back to Creative Grandma's Kitchen. In today's video, Grandma and I will show you how to dip some delicious caramel apples and a variety of different toppings that you can add to get these apples looking good for Halloween. If you enjoy the video, like and subscribe. Let us know how you do it down in the comments section. And now, Grandma's going to show you what you need to make these.
Looking at my table, you can see I have all kinds of wonderful, delicious toppings, but we're going to go ahead and start with the apple. Now, most people will use a Granny Smith apple, but Creative Grandma loves those sweet, delicious Honey Crisp apples, and I chose 6 really huge Honey Crisp apples, but you can choose just about any variety that you would like. Now, today, because I want this to be super easy, I'm using the Kraft pre-made caramels. Now the bag says that 1 bag will cover 5 apples. Now when you look in my bowl, this is 2 bags of caramel, and I'm not sure how much it will coat these apples because they are super big. So I'm going to start with 2 bags of caramels. And then you're going to need your sticks. Now I got these at the grocery store. They're just called apple sticks. You could probably find them in your produce section. And then when you look, because it's Halloween, I had all those snack size candy bars. I just chopped up some Snickers. I have sprinkles. I chopped up some Butterfingers. I have nuts. I use peanuts and cashews and honey roasted peanuts. I have semi-sweet chocolate chips. I have M&Ms, and I also have the Ghirardelli chocolates and the white chocolate and the chocolate. So I'm just going to make these so delicious that you're going to run in your kitchen and make some. So let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is wash your apples. Now most apples have like a waxy coating on, and you want to get a little bit of that waxy coating off, or it's just going to make your caramel slide down over your apple. So get your water nice and hot. Once your water is hot, now I use a bowl because my water is extremely hot and I don't want to burn my hands. So I'm going to fill up my big measuring bowl cup. And I'm going to put my apple in that hot water and let it just sit there for a few seconds and try to soften that wax up. And then once that sets in there a couple seconds, go ahead and just wash your apple with your hands. Move your hands around, try to get all that wax, whatever you can, off your apple. And then you want to go ahead and dry your apple with a paper towel or a kitchen towel. You need your apple to be completely dry before you dip it in caramel. So this is the first step. Do that first so your apples have time to be nice and dry. So the next step is to put your sticks in the center of your apples. Now these apples have stems and you should remove them, but for some reason these little stems I cannot get out. I don't have no pliers. So they're just going to have to be in my apple. I'm just going to take my stick and you just want to push that down so it's nice and snug inside that apple. And you do need a little bit of strength in your hands to get that down in there. Just make sure it's in down far enough to really secure and hold that apple. And I'm just going to do that to all 6 apples. So now it's time to melt our caramels. So I have them all unwrapped, so that's a great job for the little ones to sit there and unwrap all the caramels. Now you can melt these in a regular pan, but I suggest using a double boiler because that way it really helps so you don't burn or scorch your caramels. So let me get my stove started. I have water in my bottom of my pan, and if you don't have a double boiler, you can use a bowl or something that will fit on top of your pan just so it fits down inside your pan. And then we're going to go ahead and add our caramels to our pan. Now that was 2 bags of caramels, of the Kraft caramels. So I'm using the recipe on the bag and it says 2 tablespoons of water per bag. So I'm just going to go ahead and add my 4 tablespoons of water. And again, I'm not sure if this is going to be enough for all 6 apples because they are really huge apples. So it looks like our caramel is all melted. Make sure you stir it constantly. Now I got a couple little chunks in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it off and start dipping my apples. So first I'm just going to make just a regular plain caramel apple. Now I left my caramel in the double boiler with that hot water under it just to help keep the caramel to stay nice and warm. And my pan isn't deep enough, so I'm just going to use my wooden spoon and I'm really going to coat this apple. So just make sure you get it nice and coated, get it really covered with a nice thick coating. So that looks pretty good. So now you're going to take your apple out. This is really a big, heavy apple. I'm going to let that drip off a little bit. You can just move it back and forth, twirl it around, just try to get some of that caramel to drip off of there. Because if you don't, you're going to have a big blob underneath your apple. Now, if you have a silicone mat, you can use that. The caramel won't stick to it. Or I'm using parchment paper. And then I'm just going to move it over on my paper. Now I'm going to get a little more creative and I'm going to grab a glass cake pan. Now this is the easiest way if you want to have fun with your children, is to let them take a handful of some of these decorative items. I'm going to use M&Ms. I'm going to grab some sprinkles to fill in the holes from the M&Ms and I'm going to place it in that dish. And this is what's so nice because it makes it easier for the children to get their little hands in there and to put those dessert treats onto the apple. But make sure you're very careful because the caramel is hot. So let's dip our next apple. Pull your apple out, let that extra caramel come down and drain off your apple. And then they can grab the stick and they can just twirl it around. There's no exact science into how to do this. You just want to get that candy to stick to your apple, and you can use your hands and just add it. And just come on both sides and just stick them. I want this to be nice and full with candy. So there's our M&M caramel apple. So let's get that set over there.
See if I can do it as good as Grandma does it. Or maybe even better.
Yeah, yours look better. It's the fun of making them.
It is. This is fun. All right, I'm gonna let this drip off and cool just a little bit. And I think I'm gonna put some peanuts and cashews on mine. I know it's not as colorful, but it's what I like.
You're gonna have to press them into.
Yeah, you really gotta jam it down, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's good enough for me. That does look really cool, doesn't it? All right, so that one's gonna be mine. Don't touch it.
I want a Snicker and chocolate chip. You can make the rest of them. Make me a Snicker and chocolate chip. Now, is that getting too thick? Do we need to heat that up a little bit?
It's starting to get a little thick.
Now, if it starts getting cooled down too fast, go ahead and put it back on the stove, heat it up, and let it get a little bit thinner.
All right, so I heated the caramel up just a little bit more. Now I'm gonna do another one of these apples. If you don't...
I want Butterfinger and chocolate chips.
Yarn. So it kind of helps to lean the pan, stick the apple in, and then just kind of roll it. I don't know if we're gonna have enough caramel to do all these. Said 2 bags coats 5 apples?
No, it said 1 bag coats 5 apples, but these are really huge apples, so
yeah, they are.
This was 2 bags, and so far this is our 4th apple, so I'm hoping it's enough for the big 6 giant apples we have. It's just something fun to do with the kids, and it's a great way to make a nice dessert for your holiday dessert table. Slice that up and everybody can have a really good treat.
So what am I putting on this?
Butterfingers and chocolate chips. A lot of Butterfinger. That's mine. Well, just a touch of those dark chocolate chips.
I don't think there's gonna be any room left.
Kids are gonna have a blast doing this. I'm having fun, and I'm an old person. Okay, save room for just a couple chocolate chips. I don't like a lot of dark chocolate, but I just thought it would look nice with some chocolate chips.
I don't think there's any room.
Put the bottom of that apple right in that chocolate chips to absorb. Yeah, there you go.
This thing weighs like 10 pounds.
I know. Okay, that looks good. Just a few dark chocolate.
There wasn't really any room left for them, but... Alright, so the good thing about using a double boiler is that you can keep reheating it because it's going to get cold. And once it gets cold, it just does not want to cooperate. I use a hot pad. Okay, so the next one we're going to try is Snickers. I'm going to put some crushed up Snickers on it. And then I'm going to coat the last apple, and then Creative Grandma's going to show you what she's going to do with that one. I always see these made like pre-made at grocery stores and stuff, and they're...
Or at Gertrude Hawk's, they have them down there.
I'm going to spend $80 on an apple.
Yeah. You might have to dump that on the wood thing and do it. Oh, there you go. Oh, that looks good. Caramel and Snickers. Load that baby up. That one's mine. So the last apple, I'm going to drizzle with some chocolate flavored wafers and some vanilla flavored wafers. These chips you can buy and just melt them in your microwave and then make it real thin, and I'm just using a knife, and I'm just going to drizzle my apple with chocolate. Just going to do squiggly lines. Pick your apple up and then just do squiggly lines or whatever you want to do with it. You can do stripes, you can do squiggly lines. Just take your knife back and forth and coat that caramel apple with the chocolate. So there I got my chocolate on, and now I'm just going to add a little bit of that white chocolate. Just mix the two and have that wonderful flavor of both white and milk chocolate. So that's our last apple. I hope you enjoyed today's video of the different ways that you can make and decorate the caramel apples. Make sure if you like this video that you hit that subscribe button. See everyone next time in the kitchen.